5 daily habits of highly productive people. Back when I was working at my previous job, I had a colleague who seemed to be on top of everything, while the rest of us were constantly struggling with tight deadlines, missing emails, or feeling overwhelmed with work. He always seemed calm and in control. No matter how busy the day got, he never looked stressed, never stayed late unnecessarily, and somehow managed to finish all his tasks on time. It was impressive, and honestly, it made me wonder, what was he doing differently? Was he just naturally efficient, or did he have some kind of secret productivity hack? One day during lunch, I asked him, how did he manage to get so much done without ever seeming rushed? He just smiled and said, it is not about working harder or waiting for motivation. It is about having the right habits. This actually stuck with me. Over time, I started observing his work routine, adopting some of his habits, and I saw my own productivity improve drastically. So in this video, I will share 5 habits of highly productive people that can change the way you work and help you get more done without feeling burnt out. The first thing that I noticed was that he always planned his day the night before. While most of us would start mornings checking emails and figuring out what needed to be done, he already had a clear list of priorities. Every evening before leaving work, he would take 5 minutes to write down his top tasks for the next day. That way, when he arrived in the morning, he didn't waste time in deciding where to start. He just jumped straight into his most important work. When I started doing this, I realized how much time I used to waste just getting into the flow each morning. Now, I end every workday by making a quick to-do list for the next day, and it makes my mornings much more productive. The second habit he followed was focusing on high-impact tasks. He wasn't the kind of person who just looked busy. He actually got things done. One day, he told me about the 80-20 rule, which means the 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. Instead of getting caught in minor time-consuming tasks, he focused on the things that truly move projects forward. For example, while some of us spend time and hours organizing emails or tweaking presentations, he spent most of his time on work that really mattered, solving problems, meeting key deadlines, and making sure things ran smoothly. This was a game changer for me. I started asking myself, is this task actually important, or am I just doing it to feel productive? This simple shift made me a huge difference in how I manage my workload. The third thing that I did was time blocking his work. One of the biggest mistakes I used to make was multitasking, answering emails while working on reports, checking my phone in between tasks, and constantly switching from one thing to another. But my colleague worked differently. He would block out time for deep work, set a timer, and focus entirely on one task at a time. For example, if he had to finish a report, he would block out a 90-minute session where he did nothing else. No emails, no unnecessary meetings, just focused work. After that, he would take a short break before moving on to the next task. This method helped him finish complex projects faster, while the rest of us were still trying to juggle everything at once. Another thing that sets him apart was his morning routine. Unlike most of us who started the day by scrolling through emails or social media, he had a structured way to begin his day. He would arrive at work, spend a few minutes reviewing his goals, and then immediately start with his most important task before checking emails or attending to meetings. He told me, if you start your day by reacting to emails, you are already letting other people control your schedule. Start with work first, then deal with emails later. That advice alone helped me get so much done. Instead of jumping straight into my inbox, I now spend the first hour of my workday tackling a high priority task before getting distracted by messages. The last habit he followed was daily reflection and improvement. At the end of each day, he took a few minutes to ask himself, what went well today? What did it? How can I improve tomorrow? It wasn't just working hard. It was working smart, constantly optimizing his process. One day, he told me, if you don't reflect, you'll keep making the same mistakes and never improve. This hit me hard, and I realized I was repeating a lot of bad work habits without ever questioning them. When I started doing a quick reflection at the end of the day, I became more aware of what was actually wasting my time, and I found ways to actually fix it. Looking back now, I realized my colleague's success had nothing to do with luck or working longer hours. It was all about habits. He had a system that made productivity effortless. If you want to get more done without feeling overwhelmed, start by building these habits. 1. Plan your day nights before. 2. Focus on high-impact tasks. 3. Time block your work. And 4. Start your mornings with purpose. And 5. Reflect on your daily progress. Reflect on it daily. These small changes will make massive difference in how productive you are. So, which of these habits are you going to start today? Let me know in the comment section.